All right, welcome back everyone. It's Rod with POW Group. Today is Tuesday, September 22nd, and in today's video we're going to discuss the dollar index and the importance of it. And before we jump into the content, just make sure to smash the like, consider subscribing to the channel, and consider taking a look at our 7-day free trial. So essentially, we are an online stock trading community. We cover everything from stocks to crypto to cannabis. So you can come check us out for a 7-day free trial. Just visit powgroup.ca or pursuitofwealthgroup.com, and you can join us on the Pursuit of Wealth. So don't mind the noise in the background if you can hear that. My driveway is being repaved, so did my best to get to an area where you couldn't hear it. So first on the list today, we will discuss some market moving news. So we know we had the Fed meeting today with Jerome Powell and Steve Mnuchin, and we didn't really see much from that. Essentially, they were just testifying in front of Congress, saying what they were going to do for, in the event of another wave, a second wave, and what sort of budgeting they were doing, what sort of areas they were going to bail out. So one thing that they mentioned was restaurants, small businesses. I tuned into this. It was pretty boring for the most part, but they did say that they would be hinting, airliners and small businesses, as that is the backbone of the economy. But other than that, it was a pretty choppy day, and we had a choppy day yesterday, and that carried over into today. So not a whole lot of trading today for me. I swung some SPXS and some SQQQ. I did add to those positions today, which I added at the beginning of the day whenever we opened at the high, and then I added some recently here. As you can see, we are blasting off into the end of the day, and we are approaching the 50-day moving average, which I'll bring up in just a moment. But we did see that Tesla had its battery day today as well. Tesla CEO Elon Musk kind of downplayed it, said it would be a while before, that it would become a big deal, right? So a lot of people were speculating that today was going to be Tesla's day, and then Mr. Musk just came out and ruined the party for everybody before it even got started. So that was a little bit of a bummer there. So sorry to the Tesla bulls, you're gonna have to wait for another run, but we'll take a look at SPY and QQQ. You can see that SPY and QQQ had relatively low volume today. I know we still have about 17 minutes left in the trading day. I am doing the video a little bit earlier today. So, I mean, even in the next 15, 20 minutes, there's no way we're going to match the volume from yesterday. So volume did taper off a bit today. And you can see SPY, it tapered off a little bit as well. We'll just take a quick peek at Apple and Tesla. So volume did drop off there. And QQQ obviously leading the way today, and the tech sector bulls on the upside, and definitely dragging up SPY as well. But everything, daily bounces are underway. You can see that we broke the pattern of a lower high every single day. We did it as well on SPY, so that was notable. As soon as we broke the high of yesterday, going into the beginning of today, you knew that the daily bounce was underway and that we could potentially see some follow through. And with how far we were from EMAs, I wouldn't be surprised if we tested the 334 level on this bounce, but we did change the hourly trend. So that was indicative as well. And you can see that we have the EMAs curling, and we are in an hourly uptrend into the end of the day. So bulls in full control here in the short term, and we'll have to check back in later on tomorrow to see how I'm not sure how they're going to close this, to be honest. It's looking like they may want to keep running it right into the end of the day and then potentially get a move after hours. But taking a look at the dollar, which I'll bring up in just a second, it's holding relatively well. So, and you can see that gold and crypto is sort of flat right now and just hovering around their major support levels. So we did have low volume today. We also, if we take a look at SPY on the weekly chart, it could actually be this could be forming a weekly head and shoulders. I'm a little early on this formation, but this is definitely something that I'm watching here. So I'll just draw it out for you folks. But if this continues to the downside and we do come down to test this support around the 300 on SPY, we could be setting up for a potential head and shoulders. We saw it on the daily. Now we could potentially be seeing it on the weekly. As you can see on the weekly, we have a lower high every week for the past 4 weeks. So we'll see if that pattern has any consistency going into the next few weeks. Wouldn't be surprised with the amount of uncertainty leading up to the US election as well. Definitely not ruling that out of the equation either. And could we potentially be looking at a daily bear flag? Yes, we could. So if we just do the measurement from the high to the low, you can see that we are still right around the 0.382 fib retracement. So we're about 33%, which is still considered daily bear flag territory. And we do have decreasing volume here as well. So again, not very impressive from the bulls overall, in my opinion. So we'll be watching for that daily bear flag into a potential weekly head and shoulders. That's what I'm going to be eyeing after we just saw that we had a daily head and shoulders confirm bearish as well. So definitely leaning bearish in the long term, but bulls have full control in the short term. So jumping over to the dollar DXY. So the dollar index hit a high. We had resistance at 94.09, I believe, and we hit a high of 93 or 94.08. Yeah, 94.08. Then essentially double top, and then we just switched into a 5-minute downtrend. And now into the end of the day, we're looking to form a potential 5-minute higher low and change that trend. But I'll bring it up over here on this chart. So DXY, we were watching this EQ all morning. So you can see from the beginning of the day, we shot up, we were respecting this uptrend line, and I knew we had resistance at 94.09. So that was one point where you could expect to see a potential trend change or some consolidation. We also hit overbought on the RSI, and then we went into a 5-minute EQ, and you can see we're still holding that even though SPY and QQQ are going up into the end of the day. So that is the first time that I've seen that where we haven't been inversely correlated. We're sort of going flat or up, and stocks were going down. At the same time, DXY was going up, but then we started to see DXY flattening out and SPY and QQQ trending up, which has been notable for me. That's the first time I've seen that in quite some time. Usually they move completely opposite of each other in tandem, but that was something that I noticed on DXY. And then on the daily, you can see that we had that inverse head and shoulders follow through. And if we can get this bounce really going, there's not much on the daily time frame until all the way up here until the $96 mark. So we are in a 4-hour uptrend as well. So we had a 4-hour trend change. You can see here we had a bull flag with a higher high and a confirmed 4-hour trend change. So we're not overbought, so we're not extended yet on the RSI either. So that's a good positive sign for dollar bulls. And we're still riding this RSI trend line up. And like I said, just watching into the end of the day how this EQ breaks. You can see we had a couple, it did break bear from this tightening one, and then we've just been going flat essentially and still respecting this overall. We did have a little bit of an uptrend that broke there, so we'll see if bulls can hold this into the end of the day with about 10 minutes left. And depending how long this video gets, we'll take another look at it here in just a few minutes. So it could also be a weekly bear flag as well on DXY, so that's something to be mindful of. So basically, we could drop, or we could bounce another, we could basically hit 90, the low 94s and still be in a bear flag territory as well. So just keep that in mind. But like I said, change of the 4-hour trend with a solid move is definitely good confidence that the dollar bulls aren't just going to roll over here. So taking a look at US oil, US oil today had a double top to begin the day. You can see here at 40.23 and then 40.23 again. And we saw a significant follow through from that bear reaction, and we pulled back pretty significantly. And then we broke the support of 39.35, and we actually fell pretty quickly there. But like I said, it didn't really have a huge impact as the bulls bought the dip. There wasn't anything really in terms of the testimony from Steve Mnuchin and Jerome Powell that had any lasting effect. The biggest reason for this drop, in my opinion, was we are starting to see a lot more, just uncertainty about the virus and whether or not we're going to see a second wave. And that was something they talked about in the meeting today as well with the testimony. So definitely some uncertainty lingering, but for the most part, I think it's going to ultimately it's going to depend on the dollar and just how big of a bounce the dollar can get going into the next few days. And we're basically just tracking this day by day. It's very choppy at the moment. So I'm not going to cover any other sectors right now. I didn't really see anything notable. Like I said, everything is sort of just either trending up a little bit, trying to touch their 50-day moving averages again. So potentially could see a resistance wall here if SPY starts to pull back at the 333 level. Taking a look at QQQ, the 50-day moving average was at 272.88, so we're at 272.46. We could potentially top out here, find resistance, which was old support, and maybe the bear flag still plays out. Who knows? We'll have to keep monitoring that. But the first sign of the daily bounce being lost would be the loss of the hourly uptrend. So once we lose the hourly uptrend, we can probably be confident that our daily lower high is set, but that's probably all we're going to be expecting as a result of this bounce, given the fact that we dropped so much from the highs. Taking a look at next on the list. So I wanted to cover some individual stocks. I'm actually going to skip that for today because there wasn't really much. Well, we'll just take a quick peek, I guess, at Apple. Apple didn't break the high of the day. Like I said, just basically in a 5-minute downtrend. And then once oil and stocks and the tech sector reversed, that's when we saw Apple. But again, we're not breaking the high of the day, and it's not that impressive of a bounce so far. So I'm not sold that this is really the bounce that you want to buy. I'm potentially thinking that we see the daily bear flag, but that's just what I'm just leaning bearish, as I'm not seeing a whole lot of buying pressure here, and the volume tapering off as well today. Snow 230. Taking a look at Roku, it was up 20% yesterday, so just solid 5-minute uptrend here into the end of the day. And Tesla 424 basically just went flat and boring all day today. So Tesla bulls didn't get what they wanted out of the battery day, but that's okay. There'll be plenty more bull runs to come for Tesla, that's for sure. And in summary, like I said, just keep an eye on those 50-day moving average periods on QQQ and SPY. We could potentially be topping out. Remember, we hit a low of 260 on QQQ, so we are at 272, so we bounced $12 from the lows. So this could potentially be a profit-taking territory if you are in long if you're in a swing, a bullish position for a swing. Maybe you want to start trimming. Maybe you're a patient bull and you're not in yet and you're waiting to cross above the 50 and then hold it, and then set that as your stop. There's a multitude of ways that you could play this. But again, just make sure that you have a plan. And if you don't have a group of people that you're trading with, consider joining our community. It's only $4.99 a month, or you can join us for a 7-day free trial, free of charge, and no credit card required. So I think that's everything for today. Again, have a wonderful day. And we'll check back with you tomorrow for another daily market recap. It's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. Take care, guys.